Welcome back to the YouTube live and the podcast. We got some interesting fellas. I have never met them before, but they are the masterminds behind these little items, and we're going to get to them. These are game changer. But before we get to them, Jake, welcome to the Waterfowl Den.
How you doing?
Doing great. Glad to have y'all on.
We're happy to be here.
So let's get a little background history on y'all. So where y'all out of?
Yeah, we live in Michigan. We've been hunters and anglers our whole life. I'm 51. Jake here is my son. He's 19. He's more of a fisherman than a hunter, but he is with me just about every step of the way. Gearing up, I have a hunting and fishing guide business, Tail Annihilators Guide Service here in Michigan. We do waterfowl hunting, goose hunting, diver ducks, and walleye fishing, lake trout, salmon fishing, that sort of thing.
That's interesting. I didn't even know that. So
yeah,
we'll talk about that. We might push that towards the back a little bit, but y'all have came up with this. I call it a scoop. Does this thing even have a name? I mean, what's the
pellet scoop? Pellet scooper.
Pellet scoop.
Yeah.
It's game changer. So obviously you must be into some type of reloading, obviously, for you to come up with this design. So tell us about this design. Where did it come from? Who thought it was a good idea, and what kicked him in to producing them?
Well, I've reloaded my whole life on and off, from rifles to shotguns to now this TSS duplex type stuff. It's always been intriguing to me. Whether it saves money or not, that's to be here nor there, but I tend to shoot a lot more when I reload. But we got started into the duplex stuff last hunting season. My buddy Adam, he's a guide up here where we live in Michigan. And he was showing me these duplex loads in 28 gauge. And I thought, man, what a joke. I'm out here with my 12 gauge, 3.5 inch. I'm going to blow these things up and I'm going to make him look funny. But he showed up with this 28 gauge of duplex loads, and it was the real deal. I mean, he was stone cold in these diver ducks, and I was completely impressed. So, of course, I had to try it. And me being a big gauge guy like I am, I had to try it at a 12 gauge. I'm not going to go to a 410 or a 28 gauge, but I think I'm going to now.
That's what we got a rolling joke between another guy on YouTube who lives in South Carolina with me, and he's a 16 gauge, but he's a sub gauge guy, and I don't have nothing against sub gauges, but I always tell him the 12 gauge is the lowest gauge.
Yeah. Well, I used to shoot 3.5 inch only because they didn't make 4 inch. I mean, that's the way that I looked at things. But no, we got into reloading them, and I started loading a lot of them. We started out with like the 3s and 9s, the duplex loads, and we were using the shotgun shell or the primer scooper. You can only do 100 at a time, so I would have to have one set up with 100 and one set up with like 38 or something like that. We'd scoop once, pour it, grab the other one, scoop again, pour it, and Jake was helping me here one day, and he's like, why are we doing this so much? Why are we scooping the first of all, the BBs or the bigger pellets? Why are we scooping it twice? He goes, let's make a scooper that makes how many we need. I'm like, well, if you can do it, jump on it, do it. Well, then he was looking at me weighing out the TSS. I would weigh out like 3/8 of an ounce of TSS or 1/8 of an ounce of TSS. I'd pour it and it'd be like 3 BBs short, so I'd have to grab 3 BBs and look and weigh it. He goes, Dad, he goes, if this is consistent or relatively consistent, he goes, I can make something that we can just do 78 pellets or 98 pellets or 120 pellets. And I said, well, if you think you can do it, go ahead and do it. And he did. And it saved me a ton of time. And him especially. It was just kind of out of urgency for our own need that we did it. And then we showed a buddy, and he said, you got to sell that thing.
Absolutely. Like us. I mean, I have not been reloading. I don't know. I started reloading. I wouldn't. I definitely ain't gonna say a year, but we'll go more than 10 months. It might be a year, but I've been just reloading lead, just reduplicating AA shells.
Right.
I wanted to get into reloading TSS for waterfowl because I was going to have my buddy online. He's Keith from Salt Creek. He ordered some of these scoops also.
Yep.
But he got tied up with his kids and couldn't get on tonight. But he comes on once a month. But his TSS is amazing. But they're 1 ounce shots. They're expensive. Everybody likes TSS. And I'm like, well, maybe if I can cut the TSS in half. And
right.
Before I say I'm trying to undercut Keith, I'm not. Keith helps me on a lot of these Facebook, and I'm constantly asking him about reloading. So he's a great reloader. But he's like, let's see if we could cut it in a 2 3/4 duplex. And we worked on it, and pattern tested it. And then I switched powders and sent that off for testing. But like you were saying, I was doing it. I was taking a couple pellets, putting it on the scale, measuring. I'd either come up 22 mini, and TSS, especially number 9s, it don't take much. A pinch, and you're going to have 10, 15 BBs easy.
Oh, yeah, then you drop them all over the place. You know how it goes.
Oh man, it was terrible. I was taking some out, constantly adding. I would dump it in the shell, and I had to start the process all over again. And like 2 weeks ago, these things show up in my Facebook everywhere, and I'm like, man, what in the world is that? Because exactly what you said. I'm going to show the bigger one here. All it is, this is the 2-3 for steel, but it's just bigger on my display here. It's got 100 pellets on it. We all know that no pellet weighs the exact same amount, but they're very close. But you can say, hey, I need whatever ounce of pellets, and then you count them out. Okay, that's going to be 76 pellets. Well, this thing holds 100. You literally just tape off what you don't need and scoop it in and come out, and you got a perfect measurement every single time.
Yes, sir. That's how it works.
And then obviously I got the smaller one for TSS. And my TSS for my 2 3/4 duplex is 90 pellets. And my number 3 steel is 102. So this is 100. All I have to do is drop 2 pellets in. And I mean, that literally cut my reloading well more than in half.
Well,
I would
shoot,
even.
Man, we could have made you one for 102 pellets if you told us.
Well, it was 103, but after getting my test results back, I needed to drop it to make a better crimp. So, But yeah. So tell us what you got here, because this one's for TSS and this one's for steel, and then you got different sizes. So let's go through talking about what you got. But before we do that, demonstrate. You got the bucket there. Demonstrate the product, and then tell us about the sizes.
All right. Well, this is a number 3 pellet. It's the zinc plated steel that we get from Ballistic Products, same as probably most people do.
That's exactly what I'm using too.
Right. We got a scooper here. This one is specifically 100 pellets. Works with BBs, 1, 2s, and 3s. So we just scoop it in. One quick scoop fills in all 100 holes. And to dump it, where's that funnel at? Oh, to dump it, we just put it in the case, dump it, boom, empty. Yep. Done deal. This is just a cheap 99-cent funnel from Harbor Freight. We got a request from some 410 guys to make a funnel. Jake's looking at making a funnel. Just got to make it cost effective, because it takes a little bit of time, but if guys are willing to throw down on it, he'll make one. It's a piece of cake. But so this right here works BBs, 1, 2s, and 3s. 4s are a little bit loose in it. Sometimes you get 2 pellets in one hole. So we also make one for 4s and 5 and that sort of thing. can also make this 2 deep, so we can make it fit up to 200 pellets. We have one for this 160 pellets. So literally we'll put one on top of the other, and you just tape off what you don't need. For those guys that shoot
straight loads.
Yeah, straight loads or high density or a lot of pellets in their load.
Right.
But we've got smaller ones here. This is like a 2 and 3 scoop. This one he made specifically for me, 118 pellets. It's 2 deep. So literally scoop it. There's 118 in there. So it's pretty simple deal. 118. And that's half the size of the hundreds. So just a little custom deal that he made specifically for our needs.
Now that you said that, I had to go to a bigger funnel too, because my 100 was thicker. You know, if I would have did a double stack 50, that would have cut my funnel down.
Right, for sure. And that's what we ran into with it for our own needs. We were trying to scoop like the shotgun primers, and it didn't have a little thumb thing on there, and I was trying to grab it, and when I pinched it, I would have 2 or 3 pellets stay stuck in there, and I'm trying to fiddle around with it. Andy had to get a big funnel, or he spilled stuff all over. So that's why he came up with the littler ones that are 2 deep. But yeah, that's it. It's pretty simple deal.
And then you got
a lot of time to tweak it though.
So printed on there, which you ain't not gonna see on camera. You might see it on yours because I'm inside of a boat here. You know, it's hard to get out of a boat. I don't know if you can see that on your camera.
It looks pretty slick.
I know. It needs some flex seal on it. It leaks a little bit. But up at the top, they got numbers on there. It's telling you, you know, what it does. But it's 8.9 TSS. I found that I was reloading the other day. The 8.9 TSS is the exact same size as number 4 bismuth.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yep. Number 4 bismuth fits in the 8.9.
Gotcha.
So basically, whatever you're looking for, the dad's the front man. He's the one that's taking the information and putting his son to work. So if I understand it, this is a side gig for him for college, huh?
Yeah, I'll let him tell a little bit about that. Tell what he does, where he goes. Go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, so I play football here in Michigan at Ferris State University. I play defensive end, and then I am in a plastic major at college, and I just started 3D printing for fun, and then it turned to me just making products and listening to ideas and making things.
We're obviously, like I said, I've never met y'all. We're from the great duck hunting state of South Carolina. Yeah, right. But we got wood ducks. That's about all we got. But we're from the great state of the gamecock country, so I'm going to just put that out there.
There you go.
Country. But our high school in our north end of our county and the county beside it, when you go in and tour their schools, they are 3D printing. This is something his generation is going to probably grow up, and that's going to be the next thing. It's not going to be uncommon for them, but 3D printing is so, I mean, it is growing so fast.
Yes, sir.
It is mind blowing, and it's got so much quick technology too.
Yeah, he's able to take something that I come to him an idea, and I'll say, Jake, can you make one of these? He's like, he'll look at it and he'll start playing with it and tweak it a little bit, and he comes up with all kinds of different things. I of course, I think of a lot of things, and some work, some don't, but he can pretty much put them all into action for me.
Well, that's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
So
TSS has been our most popular because a lot of guys, like I say, a lot of guys use a shotgun primer scoops for their own stuff, and they make 2 or 3 of them to make their loads. But the guys that are serious and want to save time, they use our BB and 1, 2, 3 scoops up to 160 pellets. But the TSS is something a lot of guys can't do on their own or haven't did on their own. And this is our biggest seller. You scoop it in, there's 100 number 8 pellets that quick.
Well, I think duplex at the moment is something everybody's experimenting with. You know, they always had I got one over there on my reloading table where you can measure out 1 ounce of steel, and it's always just going to be right. But when you're starting to mix TSS and steel, or people's getting out there with TSS and bismuth now, that's not the same. They're constantly changing. You easily measure it, count how many it is, tape it off, and you'll never have to do it again. Unless you change brands of like 18 tungsten, maybe to somebody else's 18, there would be a weight difference. But if you stay with one brand, it should stay consistent of like one pellet.
We do verify it though. Like every time I start my day reloading, I take 100 pellets, I weigh them on my scale, then I divide it by 100. It's like 1.7, like these number 8s are 1.7 grains. If that varies at all, I got to adjust. But I only had to adjust at one time with some number 3s and 4s I had that were inconsistent size from 2 different vendors, 2 different brands. But you definitely want to verify it. I don't want anybody hurting themselves or by skipping that step. But verify the weight, count your pellets each time you do it, just so that you know that you're
well, you know, with that saying, you know, you take your scale, and you usually got to have some kind of cup, and then you scale it, you zero it out. What I did was I took my scale, turned it on, I put this on there, I zeroed it out, I dipped my pellets in, and then put it on the scale, and I got my measurement by using this as my tray.
Makes sense.
Because I mean, it's not unless I drop it and break it or something, it's not going to change weight.
Right on. That's a faster way of doing it too.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much the only thing that could tear up would be the end part. I mean, the pellets ain't going to tear the holes up.
Right. Let's hope not.
Well, but I did measure it too. But you know, just like reloading, like what you said, measure every so often. I do the same thing with my powder. You know, that bushing, I still sometimes be like, is that thing right? Measure it. Well, it's right. Keep on going.
Right.
So
what powder draft are you using?
I'm loading a 2 3/4. I'm using the nitro hull. I am using Precision's wad. I do not remember that wad. It's a 13/15 wad, I think is what it is. It's the steel wad. I'd have to go get the number. I don't know it off the top of my head. But I'm doing number 9 TSS. It's 90 pellets. And then I'm loading the number 3 steels. I'm using super handicap powder with a mech bush and a 20. So that's somewhere around 20 something grains of super handicap. Okay. I think that's grain. I always get grains and grams confused. It's the G.
Right.
It's like, I'm like, man, I wish sometimes, you know, the United States, we were that close to going metric, and then and then our Southern accent don't help. We make up words that don't even exist.
Yeah, he and I go back and forth because he does everything in metric and I do everything in inches or thousandths. And he'll be like, what is that? And he'll be, oh, no, that's 4.8 millimeters. I'm like, no, it's whatever it converts into in thousandths. And we argue back and forth on that. But just how we learned, I guess.
I think that's what it comes down to, is the way you learn. But, you know, y'all being up there near Michigan, I'm sure some of that Canada stuff bleeds over every now and then too.
A little bit, yeah. I got Canadian buddies I was just chatting with about fishing, and we always go back and forth with the metric system, and they understand our U.S. dollars though.
So before we talk about your hunting and fishing guide thing, how can people get in contact with you on these? maybe you don't want to put your telephone number on YouTube or Facebook Live or these podcasts. And if anybody's listening on the podcast when you listen to this and you really want to know what we're showing on pictures, just get on my YouTube channel, RD Reynolds Outdoors, and you can see these. But how can people get in touch with you?
So on Facebook, I got a stage name, I guess, for lack of better terms. I used to coach football, and unfortunately, you can't have an opinion. So I got a name on there. It's Big Mac McCree is my stage name. My name is Craig McPhee, but to get a hold of me, it's BIGMAC space MACREE on Facebook, and that's my Facebook page right there. If you can see it, I don't know if it showed up or not, but
I can see it.
All right, that's me, and he's Jake McPhee, MACPHEE. We're both available, both on our Facebook constantly. My phone number 989-324-8527. You can give me a text. I always answer my texts when I see them.
And I've been seeing them in a lot of your videos in the reloading pages. I think it was on a Michigan page too.
Yeah, actually, I made a new friend that lives not too far from me, a couple hours from me, and he put it on our Mid-Michigan waterfowler page. Chris Holt has that TSS reloading page. He's been a great source of info for me. He's the one that helped get me up to speed on this stuff. Great.
It is crazy how big the world is, but how tight and how small the hunting community is.
Oh, right.
I mean, it's amazing how some of these people got, like you said, just wealth of knowledge. I mean, they probably done forgot what I pick up learning.
That's about it too. Yeah, I learn something new every day.
You know, up till just learning this TSS duplex, I have more understanding and more thank you to these people that make shells and sell them online, like Heath from Salt Creek. All these other, I mean, there's Apex. I mean, the list goes on and on. All these small people. It is not knowing until I got into it, the cost of TSS is expensive. And then you got to test, you got to make the shells, then you got to pattern test it, then you got to pressure test it. I mean, heck, pressure testing alone was $100.
Right.
I mean, by the time you ship the shell, which is, I don't know, like $15 in shipping, and then I think it was like $70 to get 6 shells tested. That was $100.
Right.
So
he just had something finish up on his printer.
Oh, I was like, what kind of Etch a Sketch he got going on there? But you know, that's the reason people get frustrated why they can't find recipes online, is because the people that put the time. I mean, I've been testing this shell for weeks outside and getting it dialed in. You know, that's, people want the recipes and they're like, well, they won't give it, or I got to buy their TSS before I get a recipe. Was because they done spent a couple hundreds of dollars getting it tested.
Right. No, I respect that, and it's their proprietary information. So if they want to share it, they can share it.
That's right. It is definitely something to get into these reloading groups, because there's tons of people out there that teach you how to get into reloading. And then I thought at first it was going to be hard. And it still is challenging, especially when a crimp don't work right. But
been there.
Yeah, I know. I would tell people, you know, start with one shell, get it going really good, and then start branching out.
Right.
So, and that's what I'd say on my channel a lot too. You know, I started with the Lee Lodahl, which is a decent machine, but for the same price, you can find a used mech that could save you a lot of heartache in the long run.
For sure. And I'm sure that we still don't have it. Our our system or our process. I'm sure we're still slow on a few things, but that's part of learning.
That's right. What do y'all use for loaders?
I have mechs. I have mechs set up. Actually, my buddy Adam let me use his, and then since then I went to garage sales, and I got about 6 of them sitting there now, loaded up, set up different ways. I had a Size Master when I was 18 years old. My parents bought it for me for Christmas, and I broke the handle on it, and it sat in a corner for years, and now I just got that thing fixed up. But yeah, mech's the way we go.
I got a Size Master and a 600 Junior.
There you go.
But I'm constantly looking on Facebook.
Yeah,
I found I legit 20 miles from me, a guy, and as soon as it popped up on Facebook Marketplace, it notified me. It was a mech. I think it's the Gabbler, whatever, the progressive. $25. It had charge bars, all kind of bushes. I was handing him a message. It was already sold.
No.
$25. I was like, you got to be kidding. I mean, that's like a $1,000 machine or more.
Right.
$25. And I thought at first it might be a scam, but then I looked at all the other stuff he sells, and he was a legit person. But I mean, it was dirty, but everything was there. Yeah. Somebody in North Carolina got a heck of a deal. That's all I can say, and it wasn't me.
Right.
But
sure.
It's unbelievable. Like, if you get on Marketplace and just search for mech and reloaders, how many people just $50, $60?
Yeah, I got some of them from some of my clients that duck hunt. They, I just put a little post out there, hey, looking for this, and I had a couple come out of the woodwork and offer me up their stuff, and very, very nice of them. But they know what we do, and they weren't using it anymore, so they let us have it.
So what's your favorite waterfowl up there?
In Michigan, we specialize in diver ducks. So we have a lot of bluebills, redheads, old squaw. That's our biggest bird that we shoot here. Just because the clients want them. They can go out and shoot a bunch of them and have a good time.
Not that you can see, but over there is my bluebills, ringnecks. That's my divers. I love divers.
Oh,
but God, them are some of the hardest birds to kill. I think a bufflehead. I don't know what them jokers are mad out of.
Yeah, the female bufflehead, you can shoot through a whole box of shells. Once you're getting on the water, I mean, it's amazing.
So you don't hear too many people saying that they use TSS on water for divers.
All of my buddies are going to.
Is it making that much of a difference? Like you said, them things are brutal. I've used bismuth. Bismuth works pretty good, but I mean, still, if you, as soon as they hit the water, you better hit them again, because once they start diving, half a box.
Right. Yeah, where I was really sold on it was, so we also guide in Rhode Island. We go out in the Atlantic Ocean and we shoot big sea ducks. Where I was amazed was how it just stone cold dropped eiders. Eiders are big, great big, like sea ducks. It's stone cold dead. They didn't even flinch. They hit the water. They don't dive. They're just dead. You go pick them up, and the thing with the TSS is you can barely even see a hole. So the taxidermist loves you because it saves your waterfowl. And rather than shoot 5 rounds at them, you're shooting 1.
Well, that's true, because that's what a lot of taxidermists say, you shot it up too much. But what TSS have y'all found that y'all like?
2s and 8s. So we shoot 2 steel and 8 TSS. That's
at what range, y'all?
I don't want to brag, but we shoot out there sometimes. The Canada geese are where we were getting a lot of the long range shots. Our diver ducks are usually anywhere from 15 to 25 yards, but you can reach out and poke one at 50 or whatever. But the Canada geese, we were dropping them a long ways out. I don't want to.
2 3/4 or 3 inch?
3 inch. So we were only loading. Well, let me grab my load chart. I'll tell you how many grains. 491 grains is what I had total.
Wow.
So we were shooting So, I mean, ounce and an eighth, I guess, what it would be.
That's total. What? How much was that in TSS roughly?
It
Like
was
50. Were you doing 50% or?
It was 125 grains of TSS and 365 grains of number twos.
So that's almost like a quarter. That's almost what I'm doing. I'm loading a 4 for TSS. That's maybe you might be closer to 2/3.
We're 491. That's about 25%, I think, roughly.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, a quarter.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take a whole lot of TSS, but you look at it and you're like, man, that ain't a whole lot. But then when you start counting them little pellets,
right,
100, 102, 100, and next thing you know, that's 150 pellets.
Right, and it's a dense pattern. They're not flying through it without getting hit.
Yeah, that's what I was playing around with, starting with, because I was like, do I load the steel first or the TSS first? And I shot one. I'm like, well, that's decent. And I shot the other one. I said, well, that's the way I'm going. TSS on bottom.
Yeah.
But
Crystal helped us with that quite a bit.
Yeah. At $3 a test. It was about like, it's more like $2.50 a test. But TSS prices are crazy right now. That's where I usually have Keith on, and he goes over pricing about once a month. But I mean, I know you see it too, and probably everybody else in the stores. But TSS is mostly imported, so their prices has jumped dramatically.
Yeah, I tell you, when I seen the 4 little boxes of TSS show up, and I knew what I paid for them, I thought, God, I hope they don't send that invoice and my wife sees it.
Yeah, I know. My friend was sending me text messages. He's like, "Hey, Rogers is having a sale." I'm like, "Nah, can't do it. I done got too much reloading stuff. The wife will kill me."
That's right. Yeah. No, I got a great wife. She's very supportive of what we do, but that's one thing I did want her to see was that invoice.
Yeah, I like you said earlier. I don't know. After a day's work, yesterday was one of them. I told the wife, I said, when I get home, I said, I just need to go upstairs and do some reloading. I mean, you can almost like the repetitive zone out. I put something on the TV and it just like mellows me out.
Yes,
And I just love reloading.
Yeah, it's peaceful.
So let's talk about your guide service.
Yeah. Well,
so
go ahead.
You do waterfowl and fishing?
Yeah, we do. So we specialize in diver ducks in the Great Lakes, Saginaw Bay, Lake Michigan, Lake Huron. Then we go out east to Rhode Island after our season is done, and we do about a month out there hunting sea ducks in the Atlantic Ocean. Then during the spring and summer, we walleye fish, and we just started lake trout fishing again. But walleye is our specialty during the summer. Everybody likes to eat the walleye, and we can catch a pile of them.
When y'all season should be starting soon, ain't it?
Our season starts like October. Well, we got an early season, September 1st. Our Canada goose season starts, and that's a lot of fun. I don't know if you get Canadas there or not, but
we have what we call resident Canadas. They never leave.
Right.
Honestly, it would be hard for us to say any migrant geese come. I mean, I call them community geese and then the cemetery geese. The ones you see at the cemetery,
right?
That never get shot.
Eating the green grass, yeah. Or the water treatment plants or the parks, they get cracker fed, popcorn fed.
Yeah.
If they venture off, we shoot them.
Maybe, hopefully, one day we get some specks. They say they are starting to migrate a little bit to the east, but I don't know.
Yeah, we've seen some weird birds come through the last couple of years. We've shot harlequin each of the last 3 years, and right here in
Really?
Michigan, and that's weird because we've never used to get harlequin here, but we've managed to shoot them every year for the last 3 years, anyways. Those are
Yeah,
really
this year,
good birds.
our past season was really great. It got really cool. We got a
Yep.
lot of cold weather, and they predicting, and you know it's July. We might as well say August, but they predicting we're going to have the same type winter, maybe just a little bit colder. If that's the case, we had an awesome year last year. Our ringnecks and bluebills were on point, and I have never seen that many ringnecks where we hunted.
Yeah, no, those are fun.
Yeah, they are. I love divers. Like that's probably my next to geese. Geese are my favorite. Obviously, I got one mounted, and I went to Texas last year for speckled bellies. That was something else.
So do you hunt the salt or do you hunt freshwater for the divers?
Freshwater.
Oh,
I would say 75% freshwater. Uh, we actually live right below Charlotte, North Carolina, but we do travel to the marshes of the coast,
yep,
and occasionally we get into them out there. But you never know what you're going to get. I mean, it may be a buffle, it may be a merganser, it may be a greenhead. South Carolina is very, yeah. You never know what you're going to get.
right.
We got a lot of wood ducks, so a lot of ours is bang, bang, bang right at shooting time, and then you might not see nothing for the rest of the day.
Yep, that's how it goes sometimes.
That's right. But last year we had a great season, so I'm hoping that this year would be the same way.
Heck yeah, I hope it is for all of us.
Who knows? As long as the weather holds out and does good, but we shall see. It's going to be here soon because we get an early goose, and then we get a 2 week teal. That's very, very hit or miss on teal.
Yeah, same with us. Ours is like the first 2 weeks of September. So we have the early goose season September 1st, and also the teal season runs for 15 days or 14 days, whatever it is. But goose season runs all the way through the month.
That's how ours is.
With geese, early
They
season.
said they set our limit at like 15 per person, and I'm like, man, we don't have 15 in a group.
15 geese?
Yeah, that's our limit for the opening season's 15 geese.
Well, we get 5.
Wow. Yeah, and then when regular season kicks in, it goes to 5.
Okay.
But I think they just do that to try to take care of all these residential geese that we have.
Yep, keep them from pooping in the neighbor's yard, that sort of thing.
Well, we got a couple lakes, and they go down there and live, and they know they're not going to get shot at because of the housing, and then the people complain about the geese.
Right.
But they do have a program where you can, if you do the paperwork, you could hunt them because of a nuisance, but most people don't want to do the paperwork.
Yeah, I get it.
That's my favorite is the goose. I love to hear them. I love to see them. But we do we go out to the Outer Banks of North Carolina and hunt out in the Outer Banks, and that's when we get the greater bluebills and the buffleheads. But
yeah, a lot of fun.
I have never been up there in the Outer Banks when the redheads come through.
Pretty birds. You guys probably get a lot of good color birds down there.
I don't know. I personally have never seen none in South Carolina, but the Outer Banks gets it, which the Outer Banks from me is only like 8 hours, but they love the Outer Banks. I think it's mostly because of that shallow water, but they say you got to be there when they get there.
Right.
I ain't never been there when they're there.
I get it.
I get you should have been here a week earlier.
Yeah, some of my clients accuse me of that. They're like, man, I guess we should have been here yesterday, huh? Yeah, or whatever. Sometimes.
We're planning to go to Oklahoma in December and then cut back through Reelfoot Lake on the way back to South Carolina. And it's just you never know what December is going to bring.
Right.
My buddy, he's going with me. He ain't never went waterfowl hunting, and I'm like, well, we're going for a couple of days. One day is going to be awesome. The next day could be good. One day is a toss up, and somewhere in there is going to be the worst day you ever had. So that's waterfowl hunting.
Waterfowl. That's the addiction, though. You never know what you're going to get.
What's the coolest bird each one of y'all got?
Mine has been probably Harlequin or eider. That's something I enjoy shooting. Well, you shot one goose and
Probably one goose.
Yeah.
That's it.
he shot a duck. He shot a mallard once. He doesn't like to hunt that much. He's the fisherman, and he also do all the work though.
Well, he's a little bit younger too. He could be something else on his mind.
Yeah, a little bit. Now his brother, who's 21, he's a killer, or I should say a harvester.
Yeah.
He goes to me all over the country shooting stuff.
But what kind of guns you like?
I shoot a Benelli, SBE2, and I'm not really a what do you call it, a brand snob, but I can tell you the stuff that I've done with that gun and the places I've done it, and it just keeps shooting and shooting and shooting. My son shoots Versamax, Remington 3.5 inch, and his gun is better than mine. His never jams. Mine will jam every now and then.
You know that Versamax has got the same trigger bolt design as the Stogers and the Benellis.
Right.
A lot of the parts are interchangeable.
Yep. No, we've definitely put them through the test between the saltwater and freshwater, and they just keep shooting. It seems like the more you shoot them, the looser everything gets, and the more reliable it gets. They don't jam. But
right. So
how about you?
I got a good many of them. I got a Super Black Eagle 1, but typically what I go with is my Maxis. Okay. I got a Maxis too. Y'all's Cerakoted or y'all's just regular camo?
Mine's Cerakoted. Yeah. And
so,
his is as well.
Do y'all actually clean them?
Yeah, every now and then at the end of the season. No, the saltwater we do every 2 days probably. We do a light clean, but you really got to stay on them in the salt. But anything that's not Cerakoted in the salt, you can see it rust before you put it away. But up like in the Great Lakes, I think I went the whole season and never cleaned it. It gets a bath every day, and we get wet every day, and just dry it off, blow it out, and send it the next day.
Are y'all doing? My brain just had a fart on me. The oh my goodness, the boats, layout boats. Jeez.
Yeah, that's predominantly what we use as layout boats. So we have our 24.5-foot tender boat, and then we run 2 layouts, sometimes 3 layouts, and we just rotate guys in and out of them. Usually by the time we rotate, the guy's tired of laying on his back, either getting rained on or snowed on or looking into the sunshine, so he's ready to get out. And the way you rotate it, at the end of the day, everybody has their shots.
I have never personally been in one, so I always got questions. One, how many times you see somebody get sick in them? I mean, because they're constantly going up and down in the waves, right?
The layout boat, I hardly see anybody get sick. Every now and then, people get sick in it. That's more stable than the tender boat. Even though you're bouncing up and down, it's like you're glued to the water, so you don't feel it as much. I get people in the tender boat that get sick sometimes.
You think it may be like eyesight horizon since you lower down, maybe?
I really don't know. I think most of the people that we get know what they're getting into. So if you're susceptible to seasick, a lot of people don't come. But no, last year we did have one trip where 5 out of 6 people got sick.
I'm sure y'all see some big waves out there, though.
That was in Lake Michigan, and we certainly did. We had guys come from Wyoming to hunt, and they wanted to hunt, and we were going to hunt. So we went out, but one kid was puking over the side, then he'd get up and shoot his birds and puke some more. And those guys were troopers, hardcore, real hardcore hunters.
Wow. And then my other question is like, I would always like, what do you get out there and have to pee? Because you ain't standing up in that boat.
Well, a lot of times they'll call us on the radio. Hey, I gotta use the I gotta pee. We put them in the big boat, then they just pee in a bucket and dump it out. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely awkward if you get ladies on the boat. Some of them feel uncomfortable, but again, they know what they're getting into, and we've
Oh yeah. I mean, you're out in the middle of nowhere. It ain't like you can just run to the Dollar General.
Right. Yeah. No, we got great clients. They know what they're up for.
So, do you have any information on your like Facebook for your guide service?
Yep, our guide service is TAIL, TAIL, Annihilators Guide Service. It's on Facebook. It's I don't know. I think I got 7,800 followers or something like that right now, close to 7,800. Yeah, if you send me a message there, I always see it. I always respond. If I don't respond, it's just because I haven't seen it yet. But this little thing is with me all the time. The guys that bought these pellet scoopers, some of them will tell you they messaged me at 11:30 at night, and I was responding to them. So when I see it, I respond, and that's what we do.
Jeff in the comments asked, "What shot do you use?" I know you said it earlier, 3-inch, but
right.
So
for our divers, we use number 2 steel and 8 TSS shot. That's what we predominantly use. Sometimes we use 3 and 8s. Like earlier season, we use 3 and 8s, but as the season goes on, we go bigger with the steel.
Do you seal the tip of your shells up, or y'all just going through them so fast?
Well, that's funny you say that, because I started doing it, and I had this glue type stuff that we bought from a company, and when I would put it on and I'd move it to the next shell, it get the little tail of junk that goes from one shell to the other.
Yeah.
And it didn't work too well for me, so I'm just like, you know what? I've never sealed any shells up before. I'm not going to do it. So I got 2 tubes that I'll sell somebody.
That's why I was wondering, since y'all, I mean, I know the sea duck hunting, I mean, it's waves, it's splashing, and like you said, them layout boats, there's constantly just water splashing. That's why I wondered if you had any trouble, or y'all just shoot them so fast that.
We try to protect our shells. I got these waterproof. Can I show the cases? I don't have What I do is I got these little cases here. You're watertight on the top. It holds 56 rounds. We'll just keep that in the boat, pop it open, and that's how we keep ourselves waterproof. But it's still, I get guys all the time, they'll get in a hurry and they'll dump a whole box of shells in the bottom of the layout boat. They're bouncing around in a 1/4 inch of water in the boat, or a 1/2 inch of water. Yeah, some of their shells get ruined, but that's part of what we do.
Yeah, Tanner commented, he said the Super Black Eagle 2 is the same as the Stoker, not the Versamax. You got them backwards. They all copied. I think Remington stole. They definitely looked over there to see what they were doing. They might have didn't actually copy it. I might have not should have said the same idea.
Yeah, I'm sure they peeked over at each other's work.
They'd be like, "Hey, we'll sell you this design for $5."
Right, whatever. I'm sure they worked something out.
But well,
I have some good information on there too. I've looked at some of his stuff, and I appreciate what he does for this TSS stuff.
Yeah, I've seen him comment a lot too. Now, I don't know if you've done it to your Super Black Eagle, but my Super Black Eagle, especially the Stokers, anybody that's got a Stoker, I tell them every single time, the best $20 you'll ever spend on a Stoker is to do the trigger spring update. It cuts that Stoker from 7.5 pounds down to 4 pounds. And I did it for my Super Black Eagle also. changing that trigger pull spring out is some of the best thing I ever done to either my Super Black Eagle and my Stogers.
So is it lightening your pull or strengthening your hammer down?
It's lightening it.
Okay.
I know I got a video somewhere on my YouTube, but my Stoger pump, and I measured it, it was like 8-pound trigger pull. And when I did it, it cut it in half. And that's my turkey gun. It's just a pump, cheap camo. But when you talk 8.5-pound trigger pull, I mean, granted, when your adrenaline's pumping, maybe not so much, but even for waterfowl, the company that I use for my Stoger, they're out of Florida. It's like $16 and some change for shipping. And then the Benelli, I think I got off of Bryland or something. It was a different kit, but I mean, they basically look the same, but definitely worth the $20. Tanner says the Versamax is a gas gun.
I believe him. I know that my son's Versamax is awesome gun. His never jams. Mine jams every now and then, but like you pointed out, I don't even clean it, so it's probably all on me. But back to your trigger thing there. For what we do, and I don't mean to go against what you said, but I prefer a heavier trigger because I've had 2 accidental discharges in the boat from clients. And
I can understand that with clients.
Yeah, if we could have a little more trigger pull, I'd be happy. But I'm with you. Like all of our own guns, like our rifles and stuff, we light everything up. So I like your school of thought on that.
Well, I can see that on your side of people getting out there probably first time hunting.
Or they hit it with their gloves. You know, they got their gloves on, go boom. And it's scary when it's right in the same boat that you're sitting in.
Yeah, and Tanner says change the shell ejector out too. But you know, talking about bolts and designs, my Browning A5, it has almost, and I'm not gonna call it the same design as the Super Black Eagle, but the bolt, the way it locks, the parts that look like on it, I mean, it looks like almost the exact same bolt too. It's crazy how they. Yeah, I mean, it's like they just look at each other and be like, hey, that looks like a good idea.
Right.
But Mr. Browning probably would turn over in his grave.
Yeah, he's definitely innovated a lot of stuff through his lifetime.
Oh, man, yeah. But they do make it less kick these days, that's for sure, especially with these waterfowl loads.
Yes, sir.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. I took up a hour of your time, but again, if you've seen these online, you can show yours a little bit closer because you know I'm sitting in my boat here.
We got all kinds and sizes. We got them for 3 and 4s. We got them for number 3s. Just depends what people want. Different counts. We got 160 count, 100 count. TSS. We got them for 7s and 8s, 8s and 9s. 9.5, 10s. The TSS is the biggest thing. Like that's been our biggest seller. Jake's printer's been going non-stop. It took some tweaking. I'm going to tell you, it took him a lot of tweaking to get it right. But once he got it right, it saves us hours. I've been loading like mad. So if you need anything, give us a holler. We'll be glad to help you out.
I agree. And like I said, I used this the other day for bismuth because I was playing around with a bismuth TSS load. So that might be what you need to work on next, some bismuth.
Yeah, we'll do her.
So tell them again how to get in touch with you.
Yep, Big Mac McCree is my name. BIGMAC space MACREE. That's my Facebook stage name, I guess you want to call it. Otherwise, Jake McPhee. Jake McPhee. Or Tail Annihilator's Guide Service. That's my business page on Facebook. Any 3 of those will get you in touch with us, or just text me on my phone, 989-324-8527. I do shut it off when I go to bed, but I'm up about 3-4 times a night.
Hey, anybody over 40 knows what you talking about. You up a couple times. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This right here be getting me about 3 o'clock.
Right.
Well, I'll let you get back to loading some shells because you're gonna need it. And Jake, get back on that printer because we heard that printer stopped. So if that printer stopped, you ain't making none.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Well, hey, thank you for your videos too. I've been looking at your videos with your shot testing and I like your choke test videos. So thanks for doing what you're doing. You're saving a lot of people a lot of time and money.
Hey, I am not the best by any means, and people point out, and obviously my channel has got better over the year and a half that I started, but it's almost like this. You know, I was pattern testing out in the yard. I might as well put it on the internet, help somebody else out. You know, some of the stuff that I do learn about reloading, I am not a master reloader by any means, but if I see something that might help somebody else out, I might as well put it out there. And truly, it's the people that I've met along this journey of YouTube. I ain't making money on YouTube. I spend well more on hunting than I ever make. But it's the people, the connections, the people that I've met on this year and a half journey has been unbelievable. Like you, I never met you until I started messaging you here. And then I was like, come on, let's talk about it. And now I learned you got a guide service. Didn't even know that.
It's all networking. It's all what we do is networking, right?
That's
we work
it.
together. We're a powerful bunch of people.
Yeah, I agree. But all I know is I can't wait till tomorrow and actually get to watch some football on TV.
Yes, sir.
So I hope it ain't all woke and I could just enjoy a football game tomorrow. I'm ready for some college football, but I'm gonna have to wait a couple weeks on that.
That's right. So well, good deal. Well, thank you much for the invite, and I appreciate you.
All right. Well, I appreciate the design and everything y'all got going there. I wish there was a way somehow that you could hurry up and patent these because I'm sure somebody's going to duplicate them, but it's just the environment we live in. But
we have did our due diligence on that, so it's coming.
Well, that's good. Maybe he can retire at 25.
He's got to get his degree first.
Okay, you can retire at 26.
There you go.
What now? What he really said to you was, you got to get your degree, make money, and pay him back for your schooling. Then you can retire.
Well, his football's taking care of his schooling, but yeah, Dad could use a little bit of that cash. Hook your dad up. No.
Dad tax.
That's right.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. Y'all have a good week. Hey, everybody that's joined in, I appreciate the comments. I appreciate everybody on the channel. Every Wednesday, it's alive. And if you miss it, you can always go back and watch it. And you can listen to anywhere that you stream podcasts. So I appreciate everybody that's came on. And here's a word from our sponsors. Matthew Knight with Satura Investors out of Charlotte. There's the information. The link to his website is scrolling across the banner down at the bottom, and it's also in the description. Today's episode is about helping business owners and working professionals like you who share a passion for the outdoors shooting sports, zeroing them in to their long-term financial goals. So if you need any information or contact or any other questions, contact Matthew. Also, go check out Salt Creek Ammo. This triple curl TSS is some of the best TSS I have ever shot. This is for waterfowl edition. It's made for waterfowl. So if you're going to shoot a species that you've been chasing for a long time, don't use no cheap ammo. You pay good money to go on a trip. You got great guns. Don't cheap out on cheap ammunition. This TSS is amazing. It's got number 7s, number 8s, and he has number 9s. So go check out saltcreekammo.com. Here you will find any kind of ammo you're looking for. He has custom loads, TSS in 10 gauge, 12 gauge, 20 gauge, low pressure ammunition. You got predator ammunition, turkey ammunition, anything you're looking for, give Keith a call. Also to the channel, Kicks Industries, most people will know them as Kick Chokes, has came on board, and I have done a bunch of series lately on waterfowl choke tubes, turkey choke tubes, deer choke tubes. So go check out Kick's website for all of the chokes that can fit your guns. Flint Ridge Hauling Service LLC has partnered up with the channel. It is your go-to provider for all your hauling needs. They are not just any hauling service. They are an active DOT interstate hotshot hauling provider. Flint Ridge Service LLC prides itself in its reliable transportation services. This team. We'll see y'all next week.
Take care.